So welcome to our first lesson. So today we are starting the analysis of various literary texts. But before we start the analysis, today I want just to have an introduction to literature. So today we'll be introduced to what literature is. We'll know the origin of literature, the definition. So today we have the brief introduction of literature before we start the actual analysis. So in this video, we are going to define literature. We are going to know the definition of literature. We are also going to discuss the importance of studying literature, reasons why should we be engaged in literature. We are going to discuss that one. We are also going to talk about the genres of literature. We are going to identify the main genres, which we'll be doing one by one. So we are going to identify, we're going to know the genres in literature. So let us begin by defining literature. So literature is a Latin word. It's a Latin word, literatura, which originally refers to the writing formed with letters. So literature, the writing formed with letters. So some people write using the symbols on the right, but this one we're referring to the writing formed with letters. So literature, we are saying it refers to creative and stylistic written or works. So there we have two key terms: creative and the stylistics. When you say creative, we mean we can create something from an existing thing, or we create something which is not even existing. So literature can be creative. The writer can just see a tree, for example, then think of writing something out of that tree. So say that one is creative. And again, a writer can, for example, choose to write a story, but he will not write a story like the normal story, but it's going to put it in his style. So it should be something stylistic. So we're saying literature refers to something which is creative and the stylistics. So literature, from this definition, we can see that literature can be written or oral. So we can have written literature or oral literature. So all these are there to express emotions and the ideas. So that's our first definition of literature. So literature can also be defined as the study of creative and imaginative works. So we have already said that the writer can create something out of nothing, out of blank, can just imagine something happening, and then the writer put that one in words. Remember, literature, writing formed with letters. So the writer may put that imagination in letters and then forming something which is creative and stylistic, as we have already said. So literature deals with art, creativity, and the imagination. So literature deals with being artistic, something which is creative, something which is imaginative. So basically, that's what we can say about the definition of literature. So there we need to take 2 or 3 keywords. We're saying being creative or being stylistic, writing something in a style, and again being imaginative, so imagining something happening and then you put it in letters, so that it should be literature. So let us now see the reasons why we should be engaged in literature. Why should we study literature? The first reason is that literature provides people with a window into various aspects of human condition and what it really means to be human. So sometimes in stories we are exposed to different conditions, we are exposed to different situations. So there you learn what it means to be a human. So for example, we have a story in which a character has wronged another person. So the person has forgiven that person. Then we say to be a human, it means to commit errors. So to be a human, it may mean to forgive. So we have a lot of reflections of life in literature. So literature gives us a view of various aspects of life. So literature again helps people to be guided in the ways in which human beings as a species relate to one another and to their environment. So it helps us to be cooperative to one another. It helps us to be very to be in harmony with environment. So we learn through literature that sometimes we need to take care of the trees, we need to take care of the animals that are surrounding us, perhaps after reading a particular story. So through literature, we can be introduced to those aspects. Literary studies enables the student to see work of literature as the way to understand the time it was written. So through literature, we can know, we can have an imagination of what was happening during the old times. For example, if we have a story talking about colonization, just a story, and imagine the story, we can have an imagination of those ancient times. So because of literature, we are able to understand what was happening during those times. So literature helps us to actually have a view of the time when it was written. So for example, if today someone can read a story that was written in early 70s or early 90s, he or she is going to understand that the kind of life he's going to appreciate, the kind of life that people were enjoying by then, just because literature enables the readers to know the time it was produced, who produced it, and the place where it was produced. Literature again stimulates the four process of reading, thinking, discussion, writing, which improves the ability to perform those skills. So remember, we are not only learning literature in our schools, we also learn grammar, we also learn a lot of things. So those things requires thinking skills, so requires reading skills, requires writing skills. So literature will help us to be analytical in our thinking. So that's expanding our thinking capacity. Even writing. So remember, literature is about writing a lot. So literature will help us to be good writers, good readers. Literature will need us to read widely. So whenever we are engaged in literature, it will help us to be able to perform those skills. So for example, the writing skill we are saying. The last reason why we should study literature is that it helps or it enables the students to acquire general verbal sensitivity, correctness, clarity, and the precision of expression in speaking and writing. Remember, as the last point was saying, that it helps us to develop the essential skills in language, speaking, writing, listening, reading. So we have those skills. So literature, for example, reciting a poem will help someone to be precise, or help someone to be sensitive, just because you know I'm talking to the audience and the like. It will help you to be correct in your speaking and the writing skills. So basically, we say studying literature is good, as it helps us to know the actual life, the actual human life. How should we be engaged in the society? How should we cooperate with one another? And again, it helps us to understand the time. It helps us to understand the aspects of the ancients. For example, it will help us to understand the kind of politics, the kind of occupation that our fathers and mothers had. And again, we have said literature helps us to develop skills in language. So literature, it helps us to develop the skills in language. Another key area we should look at, it is the genres of literature. So there we have a statement which says, when you say a genre refers to a category of literary work. So we are trying to categorize various literary works into stratas, into categories based on their style. So we are picking the works, literary works of the same style, and then we could categorize them. So those categories are those that are known as the jazz. So we have a lot of jazz. So we have written jazz, oral jazz. So we have so many kind of jazz in literature. But basically, we'll be focusing on 4 written jazz, for the reason that they are the ones that are commonly used nowadays, and again they are the ones which are examinable. So we might be asked in our exams, which are very important. So focus on 4 written jazz of literature, which are we have the short stories, the poems, novels, and again the plays. So we're going to focus in this jazz of literature: short stories, poems, novels, and again the plays. So start with one jar, and then we should finish all these jars. So for today, we'll stop there. So in our next lesson, we are going to start with short stories. So have what is a short story, the features of short story, and the main areas. Then we'll provide a short story. Then we'll have to start our analysis. So we'll analyze stories. We'll talk about the elements of short stories that will be discussed in our next lesson. Thank you for listening. Please like and share the video for us to develop, so that we should reach out a number of students. We should help a lot. So we need to share and like the video. Thank you.